good evening and thanks for joining us on Week in File. The age-long conflict between farmers and herdsmen, experts say, dates back to when herders from the northern Sahel moved down south in search of vegetation for their cattle during this dry season. The recurring crises, which portend grave socio-economic consequences, arise from the herdsmen looking for grazing lands for their livestock. This brought mistrust between the farmers and herdsmen, each accusing the other of continued invasion and destruction of their farmlands and killing of livestock, respectively. Another side to the conflict is the effect of climate change, which includes desertification in the north, erosion and flooding in the south, south and southeast, as well as ocean rise in the southwest, and by no means the least, the shrinking of the Lake Chad. These have led to competition over scarce resources like cattle, like fertile grazing lands, leading to acts of violence and sometimes bloodletting on both sides of the divide. While observers believe that the persistent conflicts over grazing rights and the destruction of farmlands by cattle herdsmen can be controlled through dialogue, others say the federal government should establish grazing lands strictly for cattle rearing. They also advocate a reform of the land use policy. Tonight on Week in File, we shall examine the incessant conflicts between farmers and cattle rearers, the shrinking of resources due to natural causes and climate change on the one hand, and the security challenge posed by the pastoral practice on the other hand. I am Fumi Wakama, but first, the news of the day. The 25th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government has opened in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with the election of President Idris Deby of Chad as the new chairman of the continental body. At the event, participants canvassed for greater strength, greater synergy among member states towards silencing the guns and achieving an integrated, prosperous, peaceful, as well as inclusive
commitment of Nigeria towards ensuring durable peace, stability, and security on the African continent. On the Boko Haram insurgency, the president described as gratifying that the capacity of the terrorist group to conduct conventional attacks has been heavily degraded. All lost territories recovered, and the IDPs are now being resettled. The federal government, he promised, will not relent until the insurgents are totally decimated and wiped out of Nigeria and the West African sub-region, adding that the balance of the $100 million pledge to enhance the operations of the multinational joint task force will soon be completed.
Did you talk about Boko Haram?
Oh, yes. Several countries did. As far as Nigeria is concerned, they have been reduced to using improvised explosive devices and attacking soft targets, innocent people.
Earlier at the opening, both the chairman of the council, President Basogo Ngweme of Equatorial Guinea, Chairperson African Union Commission Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, and the United Nations Secretary General Mr. Ban Ki-moon described the conflicts in Burundi and South Sudan as a worrisome situation that must be urgently contained.
This council has sent a strong signal to the entire continent and the world that you will not stand by while the violence escalates and human rights abuses continue unpunished. And today I am convinced that Burundi can be brought back from the brink. But we must all urgently direct all our efforts in the same spirit and towards the same goal.
President Muhammadu Buhari is in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia for the 26th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union, beginning on Saturday. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In back home, property worth millions of naira were destroyed in an early morning fire Saturday at the Orange Market in Maraba, Nasarawa State. Correspondent Rhoda Obo has the situation report.
The fire, which started between 1 and 2 a.m. on Saturday and lasted about 4 hours, left the shop owners with nothing.
They called me in the night around 1 to 2. When I wake up, I'm just seeing fire.
I have big shop there. I have big shop. I just come, fire burn everything. I do not see anything.
Yesterday on flood load more than 120 million naira.
Public places in crowded areas in order to nip this ugly trend in the bud. Brigadier General Rabi Abubakar assured Nigerians that the military will not rest on its oars in curbing the alarming rate of insecurity in the country. Still on security, Nigerians have been urged to support the efforts of the government and the Nigeria Police Force in combating crime and criminality to ensure the safety of lives and property. The Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 6, Baba Adisa Bolanta, said this in Calabar while speaking on crime prevention within the zone.
The Assistant Inspector General said, for crime prevention to be meaningful, it requires the cooperation of the populace. Baba Adisa Bolanta said, one successful method adopted by the force to stem crime in the zone is regular police patrol.
It is a collective responsibility. It's the responsibility of all of us.
The Assistant Inspector General, however, sued for logistics support to the force, as well as a more cordial relationship between them and the public to enhance effective policing. In
failings through the promotion of message of nation before self and vision of the administration's change initiative. Dr. Onu said the initiative is for the common good of all, which will bring growth and quarters in Jeddah, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima, who is also chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, is leading the delegation. Spokesman to the governor, Malam Isa Guzo, said in a statement that the decision is to seek critical development partnership with the IDB as part of resolutions reached by the 19 governors, irrespective of religious and political divides, at one of their meetings held in September 2015 in Kaduna, which was chaired by Governor Kashim Shettima. The meeting deliberated on ways of tackling challenges of agriculture, poverty, education, maternal mortality, and other problems most prevalent in the north than in other parts of Nigeria. And to revive the culture of environmental sanitation among Nigerians, the Ministers of Environment and that of the Federal Capital Territory today flagged off a nationwide sanitation and cleanup campaign in Kuje Area Council of the FCT. Mitaire Ipin has the report.
There has been growing concern over the poor sanitary condition of the gateway towns into the Federal Capital Territory, such as Gwagwalada, Kuje, Kubwa, Zuba, and other satellite towns of the territory. In a renewed quest to reverse the ugly situation, the ministers of FCT and Environment chose to lead by example, taking the cleanup campaign to the market and stadium areas of Kuje and sensitizing residents on the need to make household and community sanitation a daily affair.
We clear the environment, the rats will not be there. Once the rats are not there, Lassa fever will not be there.
So we have a strong desire to start from the FCT, but to reach the 36 states of the Federation, so that Nigeria not only makes Sanitation Day a daily affair, but that we also ensure that we support a country that will be clean and that will be green.
Community leaders promised to take the campaign further down the grassroots. The Ministry of Environment says a peer review mechanism on sanitation will be initiated, aimed at determining the cleanest state and city in the country. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
You are watching NTA Week in File. Within the week, a report came from Adamawa State that about 30 persons, including a divisional police officer, were killed in an attack on 4 villages in Giri local government area by suspected herdsmen. Damages were caused to properties in the attack, which was said to be a reprisal for the killing of a 10-year-old herds boy. This is just one of the many clashes between farmers and herdsmen in different parts of the country. When we return, we shall examine closely the issues involved. Do stay with us.
Nigerians, do you know the look of a suicide bomber? They're usually in loose or heavy clothing, usually inappropriate for the weather. They carry bags or packages. They tighten their hands or keep them in their pockets. They are unaware of their surroundings, always alone and nervous. They'll be found driving cars, moving very fast or extremely slow. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. If you see something, say something.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Most people avoid the tough jobs. We're different. We're not here to complain that things are broken. We're here to fix them. You need someone that will take the tough decisions and stand by their word. To do that, you need the best of the best. Physically, mentally. So it doesn't matter if it's creating opportunities or supporting economies. We know it's a tough job. But hey, somebody's got to do it. We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
There shall be an extraordinary meeting of the Northeast Zonal Executive Committee of our great party, the PDP, where crucial issues will be discussed and decisions taken. Date, Tuesday, February 2nd, 2016. Venue, International Hotel Gombe, Gombe State. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Members, His Excellency Alhaji Ibrahim H. Dankombo, OON, Executive Governor of Gombe State. His Excellency Architect Darius D. Ishaku, Executive Governor of Taraba State. Members of the National Assembly from the Northeast Zone who are members of the PDP. The Speaker, Deputy Speaker in Gombe and Taraba State Houses of Assembly, the Zonal Secretary, the Chairman, Secretaries, the National Treasurer. Invitees, Barrister Ahmed Ali Gulag, Senator Paul Wampamna, Senator Bola A. Muhammad CON, Professor Rufai Al-Ghali, Barrister Abdullahi Jallo, Senator Girigiri Lawan CON, National Vice Chairman, Northeast Zone.
Are you aware that the death percentage attributed to Lassa fever cases is currently put at 43.2%, a figure considered very high? Lassa fever and
Naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
Brothers and sisters. Though we speak different languages and celebrate different cultures, we were still one Nigeria. There was no bombing, there was no kidnapping, and our children were not cultists. Now, we suspect one another as there are spreads of cultism, bombing, and kidnapping. How long shall this go on? Terrorism is alien, kidnapping is criminal, cultism is barbaric. Nigeria is a blessed country. Support the Nigeria Police and the fight against terrorism, kidnapping and cultism. Always inform the police of any incident around you. Say something when you suspect something.
Remember, we all have a stake in building a crime-free Nigeria of our dream.
This message is from the Nigeria Police Force.
So, Afana, don't you do so? Na promo. You step on become millionaire. You never hear say NAFDAC don't bring wetin they call mobile authentication service. We go help us know whether medicine na fake or not before we pay. Now come see. As I scratch this thing wey be like recharge card so, come send the pin to 38353 free of charge. I will call receive text message to confirm. Okay, original. Troy. Just like that, we confirm whether medicine is fake or not instant. Now when you say no wise up, make you help not and spread the story. Now the way that. Madam, come and take your money.
Now, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, they bring on this message.
You're still watching Weekend File. Tussle for the use of agricultural land between farmers and herdsmen is becoming intense and more prevalent in almost all parts of the country, threatening the socio-economic well-being of the country. Apart from being a major cause of food shortage, lives, farmers and cattle are lost as a result of these clashes. Musa Baba Leo reports that the conflict, which is associated with northern part of the country, is gradually escalating to other regions as it takes a look at steps being taken by government at all levels to address the challenge.
The northern part of Nigeria, housing over 90% of over 100 million livestock population of the country, has limited vegetation and rainfall, making both farmers and crop producers compete and struggle over access to available wetland for production and grazing. To avoid conflicts, therefore, in the early 60s, the federal government has designated a total of 415 grazing reserves with a total hectareage of 4 million, including 19,000 kilometers of livestock routes across the federation. Studies and reports, however, show that in many cases, the grazing reserves and stock routes have been encroached by farmland and physical development.
That resulted in blocking ways for cattle rearers to go to watering points, blocking ways for cattle rearers to go to grazing areas, and denying the cattle rearers grazing in those areas.
Farmers often blame cattle rearers for destroying their farmland, while the herdsmen accuse the farmers and host communities for stealing, poisoning, or even killing their animals.
Anytime we observe complaint from the farmers, we try to get the head of the cattle rearers there, with the village head there, we come and make them to become seamless, discuss their challenges, and resolve it at that level.
But unfortunately, of recent, externalities came in, particularly from cattle rearers that are outside Nigeria, who are even bringing in weapons, sophisticated weapons, and all the stuff, and causing more mayhem.
Concerned by the frequent conflicts between farmers and herdsmen and its negative impact on the socio-economic well-being of the country, the federal government has developed a strategic action plan for development of grazing reserves and stock routes with a view to ending the conflict in the country.
We simply must bring roaming to an end. We have to give water and get the right kind of grass for the cows to eat. On the average, 12 cows per hectare, be quite good. We are going to do that.
Definitely, if our veterinary services are strengthened, you will be able to help the herdsmen to produce livestock without having to move about with them. And it will strengthen their economy.
In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Efforts by law enforcement agencies and governments to curb frequent clashes between farmers and Fulani herdsmen have resulted in relative peace in parts of Oyo State. Correspondent Femi Afolabi reports from Shaki West local government area of Oyo State that a committee is midway. And from Adamawa State, lack of effective and sustainable policy has been identified as key factors in persistent farmer and herdsman conflict in the country. A cross-section of stakeholders made this known against the backdrop of perennial clashes between the farmers and herdsmen. Correspondent Tafawa Hamza Mayo has details.
Of recent, many villages in Adamawa State have suffered serious devastation due to what was suspected to be a reprisal attack arising from the prolonged farmers-herdsmen conflicts, a situation that forced stakeholders to meet for a lasting solution.
We must certainly fine-tune the way and manner we sit down to discuss this issue. It's not a question of sitting down around table and discuss and we just walk out. There is the need we must get this information down to the ladder so that people who will know that are always involved in these clashes must be told, must be informed.
On their part, the farmers and the herdsmen put their grievances against the government, saying lack of implementation of sound policies designed earlier on is what is causing the continual clash.
Government should provide more cattle routes. The ones provided must be protected. We are not happy that the farmers and herdsmen clash on and on. I am calling on my brothers not to invade farms.
They, however, appeal to the authorities concerned to do all that is possible to end the conflict, which they said is adversely affecting social, cultural, and economic well-being of many communities. In Yola, Tafawa Hamza Mayo, NTA News.
Despite efforts by security agencies and other stakeholders to ensure peace among herdsmen and local farmers in the southeast, the level of intolerance increases by the day, most times resulting in loss of lives. Chinyere Okoye reports.
In Enugu State, the relationship between herdsmen and the local farmers was cordial, with some of the farmers offering temporary accommodation to the herdsmen, who often moved in the company of their family members. The relationship, however, went bad when the herdsmen became violent. According to local farmers, the herdsmen began to be nonchalant over reports of damages on farmlands and crops by their herds of cattle. The issue got to a climax with allegations of sexual abuse on their wives and killings. The situation, they said, was reported to the security agencies, who waded in, made some arrests, and tried to broker peace. However, these efforts did not yield meaningful results, as the trend moved from one local government area to another, forcing many of the local farmers to abandon their farmlands. Recently, the Traditional Rulers Council in Enugu State, headed by Ambassador Lawrence Agubuzo, rose from its meeting with an appeal to the federal government to find a lasting solution to the conflict among farmers and herdsmen. Eugene Odo is the former Speaker in Enugu State House of Assembly and hails from one of the affected communities.
The rearing of cattle is a noble profession, and once you work within the confines of reasonability and laws establishing same, I think is something even people should undergo apprentice for.
In Anambra State, conflict between farmers and herdsmen has become a critical issue, which requires rapid attention in view of human and material waste that result from their constant tussles. In Enugu, Chinyere Okoye, NTA News.
Within the past few years, farmers and Fulani herdsmen in Benue State have been involved in conflicts which had led to loss of lives and property. However, there now seems to be relative peace between them following the recent collaboration by various stakeholders and adoption of new strategies to foster peace. Tena Oma completes the story.
Issues relating to grazing of cattle on farmlands, which have often led to destruction of crops, have been largely responsible for the crisis between farmers and herders.
The relationship between the Chief man and Fulani man is a long-standing history.
So when the crisis started, it affected both the two parties. It affected the Fulanis and affected the Chief, the farmers.
Some stakeholders attributed this ugly trend, which has led to wanton destruction of property and loss of lives, to some miscreants and criminal elements.
I think some people were arrested, so-called headsmen were arrested, and most of these people were not Fulanis.
There were criminal elements in both sides who were busy plotting out on how they will carry out their criminal activities.
However, since the inception of the present administration, relatively peace seems to have returned in Benue State, though there are pockets of violence in Agatu local government area of the state. In Makodi, Tena Uma, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Week in File. Up ahead is our discussion section.
To 100 illness-causing germs, including flu.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
Nigerians, our able Nigerian military don't they win the war against Boko Haram. Today, they don't recover all the places them where Boko Haram occupy before. And life don't they come back to normal for all our brothers and sisters there.
But Sha, now me and you be their target now. Them style and pattern don't change. This time, their plan na to bomb church, mosque, school, motor park, market, entertainment center and public place them.
So therefore, make you shine your eye and not take security matter play. Make you report any crooked person, object or wakajube movement to police and security agent them.
The security of our nation now work for all of us, plus including me and you.
Nigeria, make we unite against terrorism. Now, Federal Minister of Information and Culture bring on this message.
Welcome back. I'm now being joined from our Makudi Network studios by the Governor of Benue State, Chief Samuel Otom, to discuss issues raised in most of the reports. Your Excellency, it's so good to have you join us on Weekend File this week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Now, there's been a lot of talks about grazing land and destruction of farmlands and all of that. What is the situation right now as we speak, particularly regarding your state?
Well, we have relative peace, and this is as a result of our deliberate efforts in ensuring that farmers and herdsmen live together. Our strategy is to ensure that live and let's live, because the farmers should have the right to live in their homes and do their farm work, because that is the only means of survival. And as well, the herdsmen should also have the right to graze and to live. And one thing that we have adopted is the rule of law. And through advocacy and constant meetings and dialogue, we've been able to succeed to reduce this conflict. In the course of doing this, we discovered that there were criminal elements known as cattle rustlers, and both farmers and herdsmen identified these rustlers as their common enemy. And the government and the security agencies are working together to eliminate these rustlers. And this is what has attributed to very huge success. But constantly, we are in touch with herdsmen and farmers, and through dialogue, we've been able to achieve relative peace back home in our state. Though there are still some pockets of conflict here and there, but we are very, very proactive, and each time we notice any conflict, we are quick to visit the area and insist that the two should work together.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I had a bit of trouble hearing you, but I did hear you speak about criminality creeping into the activities of the herdsmen. Is that correct?
Yes. I talked about cattle rustlers.
Yes.
Criminals coming to steal cows, and at the end of the day, the herdsmen go to attack the farmers. So what we have done is to try to eliminate these rustlers and to persuade both farmers and herdsmen that, well, we have come to live together. We belong to the same party, so there is no politicking about ensuring peace. And also that we have a common factor within us here, which is poverty. And we know that without peace and security, there is no way we can add value to develop our two states. And so we have come to terms, we have agreed, and we're working together. And I believe that there will be no encroachment from Nasarawa State or from Benue State. And with this kind of understanding, I believe that we'll be able to restore permanent peace within our two communities. One thing that we know is that, yes, we have Benue State and we have Nasarawa State, but this is just for administrative convenience. Otherwise, there are a chunk of Tea people in Nasarawa State and also Idoma people from the Agatu Aziz who are in Nasarawa State, vice versa. And so the understanding is there with this new agreement and dialogue that we are doing between our new states, and we believe that since we have decided that we'll work together and eliminate criminality, because in most times the problem has been that criminals come in, do their criminal activities and leave the vulnerable people. And then the conflict is ensured between the two groups. But since we have chosen to use the security apparatus we have, use government apparatus, and I'm happy about that. And I've told them, anytime they have any issue with any farmer, they should report instead of taking laws into their hands. And they should not allow foreigner is using ranches as a way of raising cattle. Why can't Nigeria do it? The long solution to this problem is ranches, and nothing more than that. But the state government, the federal government must come together and work towards providing fees for this cattle. To me, I think that this will provide other opportunities for our farmers and other people who will gather raw materials to provide fees for this cattle. And everybody will be happy and live just like every other place, whether in Europe, America, or Asia. What you see when we travel is that you don't see cattle moving on the street or highways and all that. You don't see them. They are restricted in ranches.
Yes,
and I think that long term, this is what will happen. But for now, we can adopt the approach the Honorable Minister is taking.
Great, Your Excellency. You took the ranches right out of my mouth, and which brings me to the next question. What do you think of satellite imagery for tracking of these animals, for instance? Would that help in curbing the issue of cattle rustling that we have? What are your thoughts on use of satellite imagery in tracking our animals?
Well, we are in a global village, and that can also help. But I think that ranches remains the best option, because if you have ranches, you also can provide security for these cattle in those ranches. So it is easier to do it that way than attempting other ways.
Methods.
Today, as I tell you, whether in Europe, America, or Asia, where people raise or breed cattle, it is ranches. So why can't we copy the same thing that other countries are doing and are successful? We have not heard of any farmers, herdsmen clashes in America or Europe or other Asian countries where they are doing well. So
Yes.
why can't we do the same thing here?
Yes, Your Excellency. You seem to be very passionate.
To me, that's option. But it is something that will take some time. The herdsmen will require some form of indoctrination and understanding. And the federal government and state government must also come together to provide feeds and also to provide infrastructure for ranches to work.
Yes,
in
Your
various
Excellency,
parts
you
of the
seem to be
country.
very
And
passionate
this will
about
solve the problem.
Yes, Your Excellency, you seem to be very passionate about the provision of ranches. In other areas, there has been the prohibition of movement of cattle rearers between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 a.m. 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. What are your thoughts on this in just one word, sir? One sentence.
Well, it is a difficult thing to control the herdsmen. They move at will, and it's a difficult thing to control them.
Okay. All right. I think that's where we'll have to draw the curtain on our discussion, Your Excellency. We'd like to thank you very much for finding time to join us from our Matkodi Network Center. Thank you very much for your time, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we now take some more messages, and Week in Fire will continue shortly.
My people, now how person fit take service suicide bomber self? Suicide bomber they always knack heavy cloth, or sometimes anyhow loose cloth when not delicate with the weather at all. They always carry big bag or many load like who they travel. They always tight hand like blow, or even put their hand inside pocket like who called the mama. Sometimes suicide bomber like to tanda alone, they fear, and they know they send waiting they happen around them all. Sometimes then they drive motor fast, fiam fiam. And sometimes, now so they go, they drive slow, they terraje. If you shadow any kind load where they drop, or messing with kurukere waka when not pure, I beg, me will report and give police or other security agent one time. The security of we country, now everybody hand it there. Nigeria, may we unite against terrorism. If we now see something, may we now say something. Now, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, bring on this message you.
Hi, I'm Deja. Now imagine paying for me to perform at your event. And surprise, surprise, I step on stage and you see Koide Bello with me ready to perform absolutely free. Just imagine that. Now that's the magic of Glow Twin Bash. You pay for any data plan and Glow gives you airtime absolutely free.
To get Glow's new Twin Bash, simply buy a Glow data card, dial *223* PIN hash, and see how as little as 200 Naira can get you 200 megabytes of data, free airtime to any network, plus free calls to 10 friends and family members, together worth 1,200 Naira. That's 6 times the value.
Wow! Free airtime to call my dad, just with my mom, call my producers, my wonderful fans, and share the latest.
Terrorism are barbaric. Do not destroy this country, oh. Our country, Nigeria, are blessed, oh. Are you see what I'm saying? Support Nigerian police force in their civil war against terror, kidnapping, and cultism. Report any bad move around you. See and does not talk, I kill old age. And to hear and does not behavior, I kill small picking. All of us have the duty of building Nigeria free of crime. That are our dream.
This message is from the Nigeria Police Force.
You're still watching Weekend File. First Boxing Hall of Fame for 2016 takes place in Lagos with a call on more women to embrace the sports. Upset's first Grand Slam of the year wraps up this weekend in Melbourne. Plus, battle for semi-final berths hearts up at the ongoing Chan Championship in Rwanda. These and more with Henry Ifyom on Sports Update.
The 70th edition of the Boxing Hall of Fame held Saturday at the Roe Park Yaba with a total of 9 bouts on display. The high point was the 54 kg fight in the women's category, where Elizabeth Osoja outpunched Yemisi Akintayo to emerge victorious.
Technical knockout in round 3.
I want to go to festival. I want to be a festival medalist.
Hey, women, do not be left behind. Come and take your own place at the forefront of amateur boxing.
Aliu Ibrahim was declared the best boxer of the day's tournament. Congo Democratic Republic and Cote d'Ivoire have booked their places in the semi-final of the Chan 2016 Championship taking place in Rwanda. In the first quarter-final encounter, Congo DR stopped the ambitions of host Rwanda with a 2-1 victory after extra time. The second semi-final saw Cote d'Ivoire score 3 quick goals in extra time to eliminate Cameroon in Kigali. On Sunday, Tunisia will engage Mali, while Zambia take on Guinea in the last 2 quarter-final pairings. The second half of the season in the German Bundesliga commenced this weekend with Bayer Leverkusen producing a comfortable display, beating Hannover 3-0 to move within Champions League qualification in a live match of the weekend. In some of the other games, Schalke won 2-0 away at Darmstadt, Borussia Dortmund beat Ingolstadt 2-0, while Werder Bremen and Hertha Berlin played out a 3-3 draw. And in tennis, the first Grand Slam of the year, the Australia Open waited till the final to produce its upset. World number 1 Serena Williams was involved again as she fell 2-1, 6-4, 3-6, 6-4 to 7-seed Angelique Kerber in the women's final on Saturday. It was another lost opportunity for Serena Williams to equal Steffi Graf's haul of 22 Grand Slam titles, while for Kerber, a first Grand Slam title was secured.
I take my chance to be here in the finals, to play against Serena, and I'm really honored to be here in this final and to win it. I mean, my dream come true tonight on this night.
Novak Djokovic will be looking to maintain his impressive form when he squares up against Andy Murray in Sunday's men's final. With Sports Update, Henry Ifyom, NTA News.
Let's take a quick check on the weather prospects.
Hello and welcome
come to the weather forecast. More dust is raised from the source region, and it is expected to be transported into the country. And with already suspended dust in the atmosphere, we expect most places in the north and some part of the central cities to be in thick dust haze with low temperatures due to the dry, dusty and cold winds from the Sahara Desert. The south will be having dust haze with visibility range of 2 to 5 kilometers. Though some places will be having less than 2,000 meters. Let's see how hot or cold the nighttime and daytime temperatures will be.